Book review Tilt. A novel by Emma Pattee. Emma Pattee's debut novel Tilt plunges readers into the harrowing, visceral account of survival and self-discovery set against the backdrop of a catastrophic earthquake in Portland, Oregon. Spanning a single agonizing day, the novel follows Annie, a 37-week pregnant woman, as she navigates the city utterly transformed by disaster, all while grappling with the crumbling foundations of her own life. This opens with Annie, 35 years old and 9 months pregnant, in the seemingly mundane setting of an IKEA store in northeast Portland. She's finally getting around to buying a crib for her unborn child, whom she affectionately refers to as Bean. This procrastination, a subtle hint at her anxieties and unaddressed issues, is abruptly shattered when the big one hits. Massive earthquake based on the very real threat of the Cascadia subduction zone that devastates the Pacific Northwest. The initial moments are a blur of terrifying jolts, collapsing shelves, and the sickening realization that the world as she knows it has been literally tilted on its axis. Emerging from the wreckage of IKEA, Annie finds herself in a chaotic, unrecognizable Portland. Communication lines are down, power grids have failed, and the city is plunged into a primal state of survival. Her immediate, overwhelming instinct is to reach her husband, Dom, who is somewhere across the ravaged city with no phone, no money, and no means of transportation. Annie's only option is to walk. This desperate journey forms the spine narrative propelling her through a landscape of destruction and despair. As Annie embarks on her arduous trek, the novel vividly portrays the physical and emotional toll of the disaster. She is heavily pregnant, battling thirst, hunger, pain, and the constant threat of aftershocks. The streets are a treacherous maze of collapsed buildings, cracked infrastructure, and overturned vehicles. Bridges are impassable and familiar landmarks are reduced to rubble. Pattee Mess creates a sense of immediate danger in the raw, unfiltered reality of a society stripped bare. During her odyssey, Annie encounters a cross-section of humanity, revealing both the best and worst of human nature in crisis. She witnesses acts of selfless kindness, with strangers offering what little help they can, yet she also confronts the darker side of survival. Grocery stores overrun by looters, desperate individuals resorting to violence, and the pervasive fear that turns people into animals. As Annie herself observes, a significant encounter is her unlikely friendship with another young mother, a bond forged in shared vulnerability and the desperate hope for their children's safety. These interactions serve as stark reminders of the social fabric's fragility and the innate human drive to connect, even amidst chaos. Interspersed with Annie's present-day struggle are poignant in revealing flashbacks to her life before the earthquake. These moments provide crucial context, illustrating the disappointments and desires that have quietly simmered beneath the surface of her existence. Readers learn about her struggling marriage with Dom, marked by his own unfulfilled dreams of an acting career and her growing resentment over her sacrifices. She reflects on her own aspirations as a playwright now relegated to an unsatisfying office job and the financial anxieties that plague their relationship. The flashbacks also delve into her unresolved grief over her mother's death and her profound apprehension about becoming a mother herself. These past anxieties, once seemingly monumental, now feel grotesque against the backdrop of true life or death stakes. The earthquake, in a profound sense, acts as a literal and metaphorical shaking of the foundations of her entire life, forcing her to confront the cracks she had long ignored. The novel explores several powerful themes. Resilience, survival are paramount, as Annie's physical and emotional struggles highlight her inner strength. Her pregnancy is central to her story, intensifying her fears, but also fueling her determination to survive for her unborn child, Bean. The theme of motherhood is explored with raw honesty, from the anxieties of impending parenthood to the fierce protective instincts that emerge in the face of danger. Marriage and relationships are examined through the lens of tensions, forcing Annie to reevaluate her bond with Dom and what truly matters. The novel also delves into existential reflection, using the disaster as a catalyst for Annie to confront her past choices, her unfulfilled dreams, and her identity beyond her roles as wife and soon-to-be mother. Pattee's background as a climate journalist lends a chilling authenticity to the depiction of the societal breakdown in the stark realities of disaster preparedness or lack thereof, particularly in a region vulnerable to such seismic events. As Annie presses on, her body aching and her mind reeling, the narrative builds towards a harrowing climax. The journey culminates in an unimaginable scenario. Annie goes into labor in the woods near her apartment, uncertain if her building is still standing, if Dom is alive, or if any medical help is available. This earthquake delivery underscores the novel's core message. Even when everything is lost, the most fundamental human experiences: birth, survival, love, persists. Tilt's compelling and propulsive debut that masterfully blends the high-stakes tension of survival thriller with deep, introspective character study. It is primal scream of novel that forces readers to consider their own capacity for resilience, the true meaning of connection, and what one is willing to for the people they love when the world literally tilts. Book review: Emma Pattee's debut novel Tilt is a visceral and unflinching exploration of survival, identity, and the fragile foundations of modern life, all set against the backdrop of a cataclysmic earthquake in Portland, Oregon. Released to significant anticipation, Pattee's work immediately establishes her as a formidable new voice in literary fiction, blending the nail-biting tension of disaster thriller with the profound introspection of character study. Book that grips the reader from its opening pages and refuses to let go, forcing confrontation not only with the unthinkable but also with the deeply personal anxieties that simmer beneath the surface of everyday existence. The premise is deceptively simple. Annie, 37 weeks pregnant and 35 years old, finds herself in an IKEA store, finally getting around to buying a crib for her unborn child, affectionately nicknamed Bean. The seemingly ordinary domestic scene is shattered in an instant by the big one, massive, long-feared earthquake along the Cascadia subduction zone. The world literally tilts, and Annie is thrust into desperate day-long odyssey across devastate Portland, her sole objective being to reach her husband, Dom, and find safety for herself and her baby. This journey, fraught with peril and punctuated by encounters with society and chaos, comes crucible in which Annie is forced to confront not only the external dangers but also the internal tremors that have long plagued her life. Themes: the ground beneath our feet. Tilt is rich with thematic depth, meticulously weaving together several potent threads that resonate long after the final page. Survival and resilience. At its core, Tilt is a raw, unvarnished account of survival. Pattee spares no detail in depicting the immediate aftermath of a major earthquake, the physical destruction, the breakdown of infrastructure, the scarcity of resources, and the sheer terror of a world turned upside down. Annie's journey is a testament to human resilience as she pushes her heavily pregnant body through unimaginable pain and exhaustion. The novel explores the primal instincts that emerge when civilization crumbles, showcasing both the extraordinary acts of kindness and the chilling depths of desperation that can manifest in a crisis. Annie's determination, fueled by her fierce maternal instinct, becomes a powerful symbol of the human will to endure. Motherhood and pregnancy. Central to Annie's story is her pregnancy, which adds layers of vulnerability and urgency to her struggle. The physical demands of carrying a child, coupled with the emotional weight of impending motherhood, amplify every challenge she faces. Pattee skillfully portrays the anxieties inherent in becoming a parent: financial worries, fears of inadequacy, the overwhelming responsibility, and contrasts them sharply with the raw protective love blossoms in the face of extreme danger. The constant internal dialogue with Bean serves as poignant reminder of the life she carries, transforming personal ordeal into universal narrative of maternal devotion. The idea that pregnancy itself is Tilt's disruption of comfortable, controlled lives is subtle but powerful undercurrent. Marriage and relationships. The earthquake, while a physical cataclysm, also serves as a metaphor for the fault lines already present in Annie's marriage to Dom. Through flashbacks, Pattee reveals a relationship strained by unfulfilled dreams, financial pressures, and unspoken resentments. Dom's persistent pursuit of an acting career contrasted with Annie's sacrifice of her own playwright aspirations for a dissatisfying office job has created a quiet chasm between them. The disaster forces Annie to reevaluate her choices, her compromises, and the true nature of her bond with Dom. The journey to find him becomes not just a physical quest, but also a desperate attempt to salvage or redefine their relationship in the face of ultimate loss. Beyond her marriage, Annie's encounters with strangers, some helpful, some predatory, underscore the unpredictable nature of human connection in crisis, highlighting how shared vulnerability can forge unexpected bonds. Unfulfilled dreams and midlife discontent. Pattee taps into a pervasive modern anxiety, the feeling of being stuck, of dreams deferred, and of life not turning out as imagined. Annie, a promising playwright in her youth, now finds herself in a mundane job, grappling with financial insecurity and the quiet disappointment of unrealized potential. The flashbacks meticulously detail the compromises she has made, the anxieties about housing, and the general malaise of a millennial hellscape where stability feels increasingly out of reach. The earthquake, in its devastating immediacy, strips away these first-world problems, forcing her to confront what truly matters and to reevaluate her priorities. The contrast between her past anxieties and the present life-or-death struggle is stark, yet it ultimately propels her towards a desperate hope for change. Societal breakdown in human nature. Pattee, a climate journalist, imbues Tilt with a chilling realism regarding the potential impact of a major natural disaster. The depiction of Portland's infrastructure collapse, the overwhelmed emergency services, and the rapid descent into chaos feels terrifyingly plausible. The novel serves as a stark reminder of society's fragility and our collective unpreparedness for such an event. More profoundly, it explores the spectrum of human behavior under duress. Annie witnesses both the best, strangers offering aid, shared moments of humanity, and the worst, looting, violence, and desperate every person for themselves mentality. This exploration of human nature in extremis is one of the book's most compelling aspects, prompting readers to consider their own responses in similar circumstances. Character analysis. Annie's inner world. Annie is an incredibly complex and relatable protagonist, and much of the novel's power derives from her deeply intimate internal monologue. Her direct address to being her unborn child creates an immediate and powerful connection with the reader, allowing access to her raw fears, her biting wit, and her moments of profound vulnerability. This narrative choice not only humanizes her, but also emphasizes the stakes of her journey. As character, Annie embodies the anxieties of generation, her struggles with career dissatisfaction, financial instability, and the daunting prospect of parenthood resonate deeply. She is not a flawless hero. She procrastinates, she harbors resentments, and she questions her own capacity for motherhood. Yet it is precisely these imperfections that make her so authentic. The earthquake acts as catalyst, forcing her to shed her human skin and revert to a beastly form of survival, revealing an inner strength she never knew she possessed. Her evolution from woman burdened by everyday worries to a fierce, determined survivor is compelling and inspiring. Writing style and narrative structure. A propulsive read. Emma Pattee's prose in Tilt is nothing short of masterful. It is visceral, immediate, and raw, pulling the reader directly into Annie's harrowing experience. Pattee employs vivid sensory details, making the reader feel the dust, the heat, the pain, and the overwhelming chaos of the devastated city. The language is sharp and unsparing, Annie's internal state and the brutal reality she faces. The novel's dual timeline structure is incredibly effective, alternating between Annie's present-day struggle for survival and flashbacks to her life before the earthquake. Pattee expertly builds tension while simultaneously deepening the reader's understanding of Annie's character and the complexities of her marriage. This narrative choice allows for a nuanced exploration of how past disappointments and anxieties intersect with present-day trauma, highlighting the idea that the earthquake merely exposes cracks that were already there. Pacing is relentlessly propulsive, making Tilt a true page-turner that is difficult to put down. Each chapter leaves the reader desperate to know what happens next, both in Annie's physical journey and in the unfolding revelations about her past. Impact and strengths. A resonating debut. Tilt is a remarkably impactful debut that achieves several significant feats. Its emotional resonance is undeniable. The readers will find themselves deeply invested in Annie's fate and her unborn child's. The novel prompts profound self-reflection, encouraging readers to consider their own preparedness for disaster, their relationships, and the dreams they may have deferred. The book's unputdownable quality stems from its plot and Pattee's confident storytelling. She navigates the balance between a high-stakes thriller and a nuanced character study with impressive skill. The scientific accuracy of the earthquake scenario adds a layer of chilling authenticity, making the fictional events feel unnervingly real and highlighting the very real geological threats faced by regions like the Pacific Northwest. While some readers might find the millennial existential nightmare aspects almost too relatable or anxiety-inducing, this is arguably one of the book's strengths. Pattee holds a mirror up to contemporary anxieties, using the extreme circumstances of a natural disaster to amplify and dissect them. It's a novel that forces discomfort but ultimately offers a powerful message of hope and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Conclusion. A fourth, Reckon with Tilt. A novel by Emma Pattee is a powerful, timely, and unforgettable debut. It is a book that will appeal to fans of survival thrillers, literary fiction, and anyone interested in a profound exploration of human nature under pressure. Pattee's confident prose, compelling characterization, and masterful pacing create a reading experience that is both terrifying and deeply moving. It is a testament to the fact that, even when the world literally tilts, the most fundamental human desires for safety, for connection, and for the future remain steadfast. Emma Pattee has arrived as significant literary voice, and Tilt is forced to be reckoned with.